Welcome to the American Contractor Show, the show that's all about American contractors living the American dream. I'm your host, John Dye. Each episode will introduce you to contractors just like you who have beaten the odds and leveled up their game to become the dominant force in their markets. Together, we'll explore the tools and tactics that unlock the secrets to their success. Join me as we begin the journey that leads to the realization of your American dream. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Thursday edition of the American Contractor Show. I'm your host, John Dye. Thank you so much for joining us and being a part of this today. And we are fresh off of the Cedar Rapids Contractor Storm Workshop that we just did yesterday. We were able to bring a whole lot of value to contractors and give them some great information that's going to help them as they navigate through the derecho storms and what's going on over there. It's been it's pretty devastating, and we're glad to do it. We're happy to do it. We're excited to be a part of the industry. Our whole goal here is to bring you as much knowledge and information to help you grow your business in a positive way. And that's why we focus on events like this and giving back as much as we can, because that's what we want. We want to help you become informed, help you stay up to date with the current trends and, not just trends, but practices that are going to help you build and grow your business. And so I'm excited about that. Thank you so much for joining us and being a part of it. We're going to be in Lake Charles, Louisiana next week on Wednesday, doing the same thing again, and hopefully bringing you guys some great content out of that event as well. And we've got some cool stuff that we're going to share from Iowa on the next episode of American Contractor Show. So thank you so much for being a part of it. Thank you for supporting the cause. Huge thank you to our sponsors, to Atlas, Atlas Contractor Coach Pro, Hail Trace, Balance, Roof Scope, C3 Group. You guys are amazing. C3 Group came in huge on this, as well as Hail Trace, to get us some great content for this, and they're going to be with us as well in Iowa. And so thank you to all of these amazing sponsors for making this possible. Atlas for providing food and all the stuff that you guys do. It's so cool to be a part of such a great industry, and hopefully you guys are getting to reap some of those benefits as contractors and get to see what's going on and stay informed. So thank you so much for being a part of that. I want to talk a little bit real quickly about our guest today. So we've got with us the one and only Ryan Groth is going to be joining us here in a minute. And we're going to be talking about a subject that I think is, for me, it's pretty near and dear. I mean, I've worked in the family business for a long time. I've worked with the family. I've done different stuff and tried to incorporate those elements into business. And a lot of times we have this misconception, I think, and I say misconception because Ryan's going to go into this a little bit more here in a second, but we have this idea that business and family shouldn't mix, that a lot of times it's better to keep them separate, and some contractors believe in making it a family affair, and there's mixed reviews on that. But I think that it's actually a really vital, important part of you as a person, as an individual, as a contractor, as you're growing your business, growing your yourself personally, to learn a little bit about yourself, become self-aware, and essentially learn what works for you as far as when it comes to family businesses and the family dynamic there. And so that being said, I want to welcome Ryan Groth to the episode today, my good friend. He's in Maui, Hawaii now. Look at this. This guy is living the dream, doing all kinds of cool stuff. Great friend of ours here at the American Contractor Show, and personally someone that I am so thankful to have in my life. Thank you for being here today, Ryan.
John, thanks for having me, bro. Aloha. Good morning.
Aloha.
Good morning for me.
Dude, so aloha is the new thing I get to hear from Ryan now. It used to be hello. Now we just speak Hawaiian every time he comes on. But dude, thank you so much for joining us and being a part of this, dude. I don't think a lot of people, if you don't know who Ryan Groth is, I want to make sure you guys understand this guy is the real deal. He runs Sales Transformation Group, and then used to be a baseball player. I don't know. Do you still play baseball at all?
A little softball here and there, keep the joints loose.
Yeah, I hear you. No, it's cool. I played baseball in high school and stuff, and grew up playing, from T-ball and, all that good stuff all the way through to ponies and stuff. And it was something that I still to this day enjoy playing, but softball as well. Maybe we'll have to do that sometime. But It's good to have you here, bro. So thankful that you're a part of the show and to bring your knowledge with you because there's some things that I think have been shifting in your life, and you're bringing that knowledge now on a different level. So thank you so much for joining us and for sharing what you're about to share with us.
Thanks. Glad to be here, bro. Appreciate you.
Likewise. So Ryan, let's talk a little bit about what you guys do at Sales Transformation Group and how that carries over into our topic today, because I think it all goes together in my opinion. But yeah, tell us a little bit about what you got going on and what's happening with you guys right now.
Yeah, so I'll try to keep this not a sales pitch because I want to focus on the meat of the content. But yeah, we're a sales training and coaching development organization. So we help contractors as our primary focus. We love this industry. We love helping them transition from maybe it's unaccountable, unsophisticated. Maybe they're relying too much on storm work. They don't really have a retail sales process. Perhaps they don't have a commercial sales process or sales organization. Revenue's a little up and down. They're chasing their tail a little bit, leaving their families, having to go here and there for a while to get paid and get money, where they would rather have a local brand that has a high performing team that stays on year round and wants, with leadership and a path for growth. So we really help transform their company into a predictable sales organization that can grow. Primarily, where I find, especially in your audience, John, and American Contractor Show, I'm finding that I'm really helping people either support more retail sales, add-ons and upgrades, or definitely my sweet spot is growing in commercial, launching commercial sales department, or taking their existing one to an entirely new level to sell more private negotiated work with an emphasis on service sales. So we do a lot more than just sales coaching though, but we definitely focus on leadership and structure, accountability, culture, talk about compensation. We do a lot of coaching, a lot of peer learning. And yeah, I mean, I'm just, I think the biggest thing that we love to do is just help people grow. Like growth is where it's at. We think sales is a very fun part to start because that's the lifeblood of your business. If you could solve a sales and sales problem, your backlog's full, you can earn a profit and earn revenue and make a net profit at the end of the day. So we focus out on that. We're not really a door-to-door or insurance restoration. You could hire other people for that. I don't really have expertise on that specific model per se and some of the details there. And that's why I love talking with you guys. Our supplement balance, you guys help really support some things we don't do. But yeah, that's the long answer. I need to keep it for next time. But yeah, we're pretty dialed.
No, you guys are, and I think I recommend people to you guys all the time. People need to reach out and learn a little bit about what you guys are doing, especially when they're trying to build that solid infrastructure that is what you said, homegrown. And the biggest part of that, and this is where we're getting into this, is I know I have a lot of friends that are chasing right now. They're going after Hurricane Laura. They're going out to Iowa. They're going all over the country. I mean, I chased in previous, years. I've done that before. I've worked all over the nation. I think that's part of this industry. It's a big part of it. And one of the hardest parts for that world is the amount of stress and pressure that puts on your family system internally. That is one of the probably most unspoken things in our industry. People don't want to talk about it. They don't want to discuss it, but I think it's really, really important. And one of the subjects that is near and dear to my heart, we still travel quite a bit, but I try to make as many trips as possible with the wife. I try to take even the dogs. We take the dogs out with us as much as we can. We've tried to change some of the habits that we had, and it was a lot of intentional. There had to be a lot of intention behind what we were doing to make some of these things happen. But I want to get your take on this, because I know for you, this is something you're super passionate about.
Yeah, I mean, family is very important, and I'll speak to it where before I moved to Hawaii, which I did that because my wife, this is her dream. But you know what, guys, there was a huge friction point. Okay. The friction point was I was relying on live roofing events to speak and to get leads, right, to come home so that then I could sell them into my program and provide for our family. So when she said I want to move to Hawaii, that was like, no, we're not doing that. No. And so it took a long time for that to actually manifest, because what I realized was that depositing into her, I had to trust that depositing into her was going to reap a better harvest than the opposite, which was leave the things in her heart alone and just focus on my goals and my dream. And it's quite egotistical and narcissistic if you think about it as entrepreneurs. And you go into why, and you're like, oh, I'm providing, I'm being successful. And then you ask yourself, well, are you really successful if you're gone every other week for such and such amount of time and in the name of provision? And then you come back home and your spouse doesn't feel very loved and your kids feel neglected, right? And so are you successful, right? One of my mentors, somebody that was a mentor of his that I got to connect with, one of the most wealthy men that I had a personal relationship with, but was on his fourth wife. And one of the wives tried to kill him. So I feel like early on, as I got exposed to financial wealth as mentors, I had to make a decision to say, what is success for me? And ultimately, success is being faithful with what you've been given, and your family and life is certainly top of the list, right? So, and many of us who have businesses had a broken home, and so we're like, we're not going to see that happen in my life. Or that you were poor and you grew up in a poor, you're like, I ain't going to be poor. Or I ain't going to be like that. So many of us, I'd say most of us, are like crazy motivated, and we're crazy to like have so much action packed in us that we're going to go take on the world. But then we realize that we're making money. We got our first X amount of dollars, and we got a brand and momentum and a team. We're like, let's go. And all the while your family's like, hey, what about our brand? What about our family name? Where are we getting your love? Where's our vision? Where's our weekly meetings? Where's our plan for our quarterly event? And I started to realize that like I was missing that. So I said, well, by the way, like, what's the difference between me chasing all these live events than a contractor going to a weather event, right? It's the same thing. I came home. I probably had too many social drinks and I shouldn't have. Like there's like all this stuff that you do when you're away from the home too. Like let's not neglect that, guys. You guys, when you're out there on a hotel, you're tempted to do things you shouldn't be doing. You would never do it in front of your spouse. And so it's just better at home, man. It's better to be with your family. Life's better when you're with your family. Your kids get better. Every day, everybody's better. I'm not admitting to any sins here, guys. I'm just saying that the reality is when we're out there on the road, you're not in the safety of your own family, right? So all that to say, it's a huge problem. Many people are struggling with guilt and shame that they are carrying over in their family, and then they're hiding it, and then they're medicating, and it's just a mess. And at the end of the day, it's a family problem, and you guys, we need to tighten that up. So we just teed that up a little bit. We could definitely get into detail now, but I think we all can connect on this level.
No, I totally agree. And there's, it's one of those things that it's a human problem. It's one of the things that, no matter where you are in the spectrum of life and as a person, this is something that you're going to have to, you're going to encounter many times over in your life. In how you respond, what you decide, you almost have to make a lot of really intentional decisions, have a lot of self-awareness, be really proactive to understand, like, okay, what am I going to do? Like, you got to decide before the situation even comes up. I think, in my opinion, what are you going to do before this happens? What's my response to this? What do I do with this type of whatever it may be? You got to basically realize what is most important in your life. And, for me, like, getting down and dirty, like, about some stuff, like I've had to learn how to be super intentional about things. I think that's been my biggest lesson in life, was when I decided this is what I was going to do. Like, I have to be super intentional and very like, this isn't like a joke to me. Like I've been through one marriage, and it wasn't like, I lost my first wife in a car accident. My second wife now, Chris, and I'm very intentional. Like, this is what I expect this to look like. this is what I want it to be, or else it's not gonna work. And that's just been my personal view on it, my personal agenda when it comes to family and how things should be. But that's got to be something that people have to make those decisions themselves, though. They can't rely on anyone else. Personal accountability in this area is the key, in my opinion.
Absolutely. Yeah. And, we're more accountable to our spouse than we are to anyone, our business partner, our general manager, our top sales guy. Nobody we're more accountable to than our spouse. And, I think that everything connects there. I mean, if you want to look at, you just got to define what success is, right? Because if you're like, dude, I want to be like Jeff Bezos, then dude, go for it. But he just got a divorce, right? I mean, is he successful? I don't know. Like, you guys got to define it. I know for me and for you watching this, you have to define your success. And if we're talking about the American dream here, right? And if we were to talk to anybody and ask them their American dream, I guarantee 98% of them are going to say have a great family and leave a legacy or something like that. So I think that though there's a chasm we got to cross of, if I double down on family, is my business going to suffer, right? If I double down on family, is my business going to still grow? And at the end of the day, you have to trust that it will, right? Because it's pretty powerful when your employees know that your family is first, right? They feel safe. They know that you're going to care about their family too and their well-being. But at the end of the day, yeah, they're not more accountable than to anyone else than your spouse, and the vision and the goals and the things that you guys cast together. What ends up happening is at the end of the day, you have a partner. And I made a deal with her. I made a deal with my wife. I was like, okay, we're not going to just move to Maui, but what we can do is we could take a 2-week vacation. And so we did last November, and we came here. I didn't work. And I just saw the look on her face. I saw her light up like a Christmas tree, dude. And I was like, man, I have to do this for her. And I have to trust that it's all going to work out. And so I did. And because, dude, I got to tell you, I was tired of those long trips coming home and feeling like it took me 2 days to recover relationally, right? And get back connected. That affects my business. That affects my ability to help. It's bottom line, man. We gotta stabilize the home life, because if we could stabilize the home life, we're good. But you know what happens, man, is it ends up being a reflection, John. Like when the home life is unstable, it's a reflection of you too, right? It's yourself. You got to deal with yourself. You got to deal with your old patterns. You got to create new ones. Got to connect on the marriage level. And yeah, it's a precious resource, is your relationship with your spouse, and then overflowing your children, and then your business. And it's really hard at first, but when you realize that when your family's good, you can be better for your employees. You can be better for everybody else. I mean, you can't be your best for your clients and grow your business and have a clear mind if you feel like you're quote unquote in the doghouse all the time, or whatever, or there's tension. And so personal health and relational health is huge. And what ends up happening in order to make that marriage work, I mean, I don't know how many of us today came from divorced families, probably 6 out of 10 of us. We got to break that pattern, right? We got to look back and say, hey, I don't want to see that happen. I got to fight for our marriage. And yeah, John, you said you had a second go at it. Unfortunately, the reason it did, I didn't know that about you. So thanks for sharing. But you went into it knowing what it ought to look like, because the preciousness of being married. So anyhow, yeah, I don't know. What are your thoughts on that, and any comments there?
No, you're right, dude. And I kind of wanted to get some more deeper into that move to Maui, because you made that decision based on your family. You made that decision based on your business took a back seat, and the priorities shifted. And I think this is where a lot of contractors, a lot of business owners get themselves into a position of, man, my business needs to be the forefront. This is my goal. This is my dream. This is what I view as success. This is what it has to look like. And so they put those priorities up, and you went the opposite. you went the direction that most people would never go. They would never say, "Oh, well, I'm going to do this for my family first, and then see what happens with my business." And this is across the board, no matter what. Talk to me a little bit about what the results have been like, because you've been out there now for a few months now, several months,
Yeah,
this whole year
almost 6
almost.
months. Yeah. Well,
Yeah, what's that look like now?
first off, like I had a certain amount of revenue that was coming in and profit, and it was good. I worked hard for that. I my wife sacrificed greatly for that. So yeah, just depositing, doubling down. I had to change my frame of reference because I couldn't sleep at night thinking I'm not growing, right? Like if I'm not growing, I'm dying. And I think everybody's heard that. I believe that if you're not growing, you're dying. Like we're either atrophying or we're developing something, right? And I'm a grower. I'm always developing. I'm always tweaking. So I had to find a way to say, how is this growth? Well, I was like, it hit me. I was like, if my revenue stays the same, but my time is double, I'm totally growing. I just doubled my business. I was like, so as soon as I realized that, hey, even if my revenue stays exactly the same and I'm working a third or half that much, I just doubled my business. Why? Because I'm not as required. So what I ended up doing is I ended up doubling down on, Facebook ads, for example. You guys are probably all seeing my ads right now because I'm spending a ton of money on ads. Team development, right? Systems, automation. I doubled down. I spent $45K on a consultant to help me with this and that and get my coaching business completely on a lead gen standpoint online. And I decided, okay, I'm going to do this. So guess what? Now, not only do I have double the time, but because I have that more time whenever I do put into it, it's in a more scalable environment. And now, like, I just tripled my business. So not only is my wife in Maui and she's in heaven in her eyes, which I love. I just love being in a home where my wife's floating around like a butterfly, dude. It's a good feeling. Bro, it's been 10 years where she's been kind of like more like a caterpillar. You know what I mean? And it's a big difference. And so I go to work a lot more rejuvenated because I feel like I'm more successful, not only financially, but like our time together is more valuable. Our relationships gotten better, connection. I mean, there's a lot more if we're going to talk personally that happened. But yeah, our business is on a good trajectory. Ultimately, where I wanted it to be anyway, but the vehicle and the environment that I had set up prior, it just wasn't going to work. And I'm glad that when you make family first, you end up finding more creative ways to assemble what's required to get you out of the business, to double your business, quote unquote, by being with your family and making the same revenue. Okay. But guess what? Now it's more scalable. And then when I put energy into it, it's got more value. It's pretty crazy.
Well, I think it was a reality check. It was a massive amount of self-awareness for you to come to that realization that, you know what, this is what, for our family unit, this is what happiness looks like. This is what true joy looks like. We do all these things for the sake of our families, quote unquote. Like we're building these businesses to leave a legacy, to do all this stuff anyways, but yeah, we're neglecting to do it while we're here. And I think about like families that have family units that have done that have sacrificed everything to build that legacy, to build that family, to change their family tree, quote unquote, whatever that is. And you look at them now, like, I mean, yeah, their kids they have money, but what does that really mean to them? What does that really mean? They never knew who their father was. They never knew who their grandfather was. They never knew who that person was that left them all this stuff. That person was just like some sort of like figment of their like knowing, but not really someone that they really knew. Mm-hmm. And that, you miss that opportunity to connect with someone. Yeah, maybe you connect and you leave a few $1 million less to your family, but is it worth it? Of course it is, but that self-awareness was massively important for you to come to that realization. So let's reference this back to contractors now, because you talk about this. We talked a little bit about contractors traveling, chasing storms, doing this other stuff, trying to build their businesses, working on their business and not in it. Like Jim Johnson just, is talking about his new book that's coming out. We had him on Tuesday and he talked a little bit about that. But that kind of stuff right there is what contractors are missing, is that, how important it is to build something that is scalable, but doesn't require you to to be in it day in and day out and have time to invest in your families? How does that work out for contractors?
Well, guys, you can't actually invest in your family responsibly if your business isn't functioning. So you have to build this stuff. So go get Jim Johnson's book when it goes. Hire that guy. I love Jim. Jim's amazing, and most of you, if you haven't hired him, you need to hire him. I love Jim. I love what he stands for, and that's exactly right, because freedom is the American dream. Freedom to do what I want when I want. Well, the good news is, if you do what you want when you want, and success is being faithful with what you've been entrusted, then you're generous. Okay, then you love your family. Right? Your light is shining brightly. You're doing awesome stuff. So freedom in the right hands is a beautiful thing. But guys, you're not free if your business requires you to do, if you have to be involved with everything, and then you take a week off and you're in the Bahamas and you're freaking out. And now you're looking at your wife and you're like downing a few more drinks, or you're really anxious. You swipe that credit card and you're like, you're white knuckling it a little bit because you're afraid you're not making any sales. Like, dude, you're not free. So you got to get free. And you get free by saying, ooh, I get to build simulate a system, build an organization, assemble a machine with great human beings in it. And that's not really rocket science, guys. It's cause and effect. It's cause and effect it's like a Lego kit. You just build Lego pieces together. But let me just say something real quick, John, and I want to just comment, and I want to call out all you owners, okay? You're not working hard for your family when you're on the phone all day long, because I get it. Here's what you're doing it for. You're doing it for your own ego. You're doing it because you're a little bit of a narcissist. Let's be honest. All of us who start our own company believe in ourselves and we want to be successful. You feel better about the award you're going to get at the next roofing conference, or your name being on the list, or whatever. You feel better about that than you do when you're with your family. So the problem is your ego is in the way, and my ego is in the way. And here's what I had to do. I actually have a smartphone, but I only use it on Wi-Fi now. I have a flip phone, and very few people have that number because it's a garbage phone and I never use it. It's so painful to text. I don't even use it. It's like I have like 8 people have that number. But I had to make a decision and say, okay, would I rather be married and have no business and start all over again? And nobody in the industry knew my name. Nobody said I could help them. Nobody knew anything about me. I was a no man, no name, and no name. It was just my family, and my own children knew. They knew my name, and I knew theirs, and I knew everything about them. And I love my family, and I made $30,000 a year. Would I rather have that, keep that beautiful family intact and have nothing? Or would I rather have more business and be a statistic, and my family, and I'm paying child support and seeing them? It took half a zero of a millisecond for me to know what I would rather do. I think you have to decide that for yourself. Like, would I rather, and you just say, it's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. I'm not in this for me. So when you do that, you're like, okay, I got this. I can go to bed and wake up every day knowing what I'd rather have. And sometimes our back's got to be against the wall to the point where we have to think like that, or else we don't really ever jump to that other side that you mentioned.
Yeah, you're right. And what you said is so vital, and it's the key is self-awareness. Understanding yourself, understanding your business, understanding your life, what your true goals are, setting that direction and making that the reality. We're good at creating business realities a lot of times, especially people that are really successful with their contracting companies. They can build these businesses. They can get the sales. They can go out and do all the things. But the amount of sacrifice that takes on your family, on their toll, and we all can see the endless amount of examples in our industry of people that have lost their lives, or wives, lost their families, lost their opportunities to, to be who they really could be in their personal lives. And it's one of those things that, we have to keep on the forefront. You can't just neglect it. You got to have that awareness and do things like you said, that intentionality for you. Congrats to you guys. And Ryan, you're doing some phenomenal stuff, and I'm so glad to call you a friend. And I'm excited to see you at RoofCon here in a month and get to hear you speak there and hang out with you and get to watch you as you being able to watch you as you have gone through this transformation has been super cool. And I appreciate you so much for sharing that with us today on the show and giving people some insight, maybe it's just something to think about. Think about this. Is this worth what you're actually going for? And
Right.
that's the key to the message today is what is success to you? What defines it? Have you ever defined success? If you don't have a good definition of what success is, you're going to constantly be chasing something that's really not attainable because you don't even know what it is.
And it won't fulfill
So,
you. Like it won't
right.
it won't fulfill you. And I think that, we're all created, and there's a bigger thing going on here, right? And like I think that when we realize success is, hey, I just got to be faithful with what I've been given. It's an opportunity, it's information, it's a relationship, it's skill, it's knowledge, it's friends, it's mentors, it's anything and everything. When you realize that, if I were to say, hey, what's your faithfulness score, man? Like you'll say, hey, I don't know. Let's look at everything. And then you realize like, oh, I'm not being faithful with my health. I'm not being faithful. I mean, it becomes very, very easy to decide what's important when you ask yourself, am I being faithful with it? And so when you notice, like over time, like I could tell you, being faithful with a friend that I met 10 years ago, he ended up changing my life. And but if I didn't know the value of relationships prior to that, I mean, all this stuff is interconnected. Life is life. And guys, defining a successful company is important. I think top line, I'm super goal oriented, like numbers that matter. I'm always sizing up numbers. I'm always looking at other consultants. I want to ask them their numbers. I'm super competitive in that way. But at the end of the day, like I also want to serve, right? I want to help others. And that's more successful than trying to cut our competition out and, beat them up and talk bad about them. Or I'd rather I want to see everybody win, because I think there's enough out there. And this when we got one life here, man. Let's do our best to make a difference. And I don't think there's an industry more critical to America, to the future of America, than this industry right here, right? This is it, like the local trade business that's in people's homes, in people's buildings, help and protect assets in a thing that, in an economy that's never going to go away with regards to home services and building services and roofing. This is America, man. It's the contractor, with the family and the wife and the spouse, and it's either homeschool or private school or public school with assets and taxes. And we got Uncle Sam we owe every quarter, every year. And, we have our rights. And this industry it gives me goosebumps thinking about how important we are, and how often we are overlooked by technology and by, Wall Street. Dude, we are the heart and soul of America. And this is, and we got to go out there and love well, demonstrate well, be well, do well in our communities, but first and foremost, do well in our homes. And if we don't do that, it all breaks down. It's all jacked up. So you guys are amazing. I love this industry. And, I love this. I love this show. I love you guys. This is a lot of fun. So I hope this is helpful for people to really think about success, and to look in the mirror, look at their spouse, and deposit amongst, because guess what, dude? My wife supports me more than ever now, dude. Like I want to make more money and make more sales, because I just love competing. I love building a brand and helping and serving and creating product and coaching and building relationships. She's a lot more open to me doubling down on that if she knows she's supported, and it really helps. And, again, most people are married. Some of you aren't. If you're 25 and you're starting this company, or you're a sales guy, take some notes, man. Decide what does success look like? What is that? And I think for me, that really happened when I saw my mom and dad divorce when I was 8. There was some trauma there. Everybody who goes through divorce, their parents divorce, they all experience a degree of trauma. And I was like, I don't want to see that happen. So I started to think about being successful. And I saw my mom remarry again And they started a contracting business in South Florida. We had the boat, a Jeep Wrangler. We went to on vacations. We had a Jeep Cherokee. We had a house in Boca. And dude, I saw their marriage fall apart in the recession, and they couldn't make it. And I was like, dude, that's a bummer. I thought I was going to take over the family business and like live the American dream. Right. And so I had to realize, like, based on some of that pain, I had to really deep down look at it. And I could tell you when I was 25, I would have given you the great vision of success, but actually doing it is another thing. Actually like having a family vision, having your business just be a vehicle to help fulfill that personal family vision versus it be your vision, it be your God. I think that happens way too often. And so anyway, thanks for letting me talk about this today, John. This is
Thank
cool.
you so much, man. Thank you for being on here today. I always appreciate you, and definitely appreciate what you're saying today. And it's going to, I think, resonate in our industry, because you're right. This is important, and this is a very, very important industry. And if you can get this stuff in line, the rest of your life will fall into place a lot easier. And a lot of it comes from us knowing who we are and understanding ourselves as best we can to make better decisions. So, hey, Ryan, thank you so much for being a part of this today, brother. I appreciate you.
Thanks, John. Glad to be here, bro. Thank you so much.
Absolutely, man. Take care. Have fun in Maui. Go surfing today or something. So,
you got it.
All right. We'll see you, man.
Mahalo.
Mahalo from Mr. Ryan Groth himself. Thank you so much for being on here today, Ryan. You have so much great insight. If you guys need to go check them out, look them up, Sales Transformation Group. They are doing some amazing stuff, and that's the kind of coaching that he provides to his clients and the kind of consulting work that goes into it. It's not all about business a lot of times. And a lot of times when it comes to what these guys are really helping people with, it's about people, about helping them as persons, as humans, become better humans, which in turn turns into better business owners and better business people. So I appreciate Ryan being on here and all that he does for our industry. We're so honored to have him be a part of this and blessed to be around great minds like his. And so thank you so much for being on here. And thank you guys for tuning in today. It was a pleasure to be with you today. I hope that this episode has been really exciting, or at least giving you guys some insight and hopefully some great knowledge. Thank you so much to our sponsors, to Hail Trace, C3 Group, Contractor Coach Pro, Atlas Roofing, and Roof Scope for all that you guys do to make this show a reality. We will be back again on Tuesday for another episode of the American Contractor Show. I hope you have an amazing weekend and enjoy it. Go do something with your family. Take some tips from today and hopefully spend some time with your family. That's all I'm going to say. Just spend family time. So thank you so much for being a part of it. We'll see you guys on Tuesday. Thanks so much for watching today's show. Make sure to like and subscribe our pages so that you can stay up to date with every episode. And by the way, this show is all about you, the American Contractor. Be sure to comment. Let us know what you want to hear about and what subjects you want us to touch on. We'll be sure to include them in a future episode. Thanks again, and I hope you have a great day.